and welcome back to a new episode of Etc. Podcast. Normally, you got used to us sharing 1-minute videos on social media, tackling hot topics from medical tourism. But today, we introduce to you a new concept. Today, we will have a guest, an insider from medical tourism, and specifically from the sales department. Today, we will be talking about secrets, ins and outs of sales in medical tourism. So stay tuned, no matter what your department is or what your level is. And with that being said, let me introduce our guest for today, Mr. Mike Ahwar, aka Mike. Mike was born in United Arab Emirates, specifically in Dubai, and is originally from Pakistan. Mike has both bachelor and master degrees in business administration, one from London, UK, and one from Istanbul, Turkey. Mike has been in the field of medical tourism in sales for 3 years, but what he has been able to achieve in these 3 years, other agents couldn't achieve in 6 or even 7 years. So Mike, first of all, I would like to thank you so much for coming to today's podcast. And let me start with, how are you?
Thank you very much for having me here. It's a pleasure to be here, and I'm very fond of what's happening here. I'm doing great. Thank you very much. How about yourself?
Fantastic, Mike. Thanks so much again for joining in. Mike, let's kick things off with the first question. What got you into sales?
It was actually very accidental. I never was going to work in sales. I came here as a student to Istanbul a few years ago. And I had a friend working in the medical sales department. And he just said, "Oh, I have a position available, a stint. Why don't you try?" And I was like, "Okay, I have free time and let me just go and try it out." So I went and things started from there, learned a lot of things in the first place I worked. But obviously, I had to progress as time moved on.
Yes.
So ventured through multiple clinics and finally found the place I'm working at.
Fantastic, Mike. I think a lot of us actually entered the industry accidentally or by coincidence, I would say. None of us had it planned from the beginning. But tell me, Mike, since you have studied business administration and you had a master in it, how did your life experiences contribute to your sales career?
Well, I was able to study a lot about communication, marketing, and also sales when I was studying. But I would say more importantly, when I was younger, my father was also a businessman. So I kind of learned a lot from him in the way he communicated, in the way when you had to be assertive in certain situations and also had to throw in the towel in certain situations. So I believe that really made me what I am today. And then obviously I was able to refine these innate abilities when I came into sales specifically.
Fantastic. Well, what a great answer. And Mike, let's get to the juicy part. Okay, let's get to the part where I'm sure our audience will be very hooked in to hear about. We have worked together and I have seen you hit a 5 figures number in 1 month. Not once, not twice, but 3 times in the last season. And I know if a sales agent hits 5 figures once, it could be accumulated sales. Sometimes luck can contribute in, but hitting it 3 times, there is no chance for luck here. You have a secret that is allowing you to reach that stage. Care to share that secret with us?
Sure, why not? I would say that it all comes down to how bad you need it. For example, a lot of people are very good in what they do, but sometimes they just don't have the desire to do more than what is required.
Yes.
For example, if I tell you a little bit more about myself and how I worked in the past season, I wouldn't recommend this for anyone, but my work didn't stop when I was at the office. I used to go back home, make calls, do a lot more over there. There was a time when I actually was speaking to a patient at 1 a.m. in the night.
US numbers, right?
Let's not talk about that anymore. So I actually fell asleep during talking to the patient. And he's like, "Mike, are you there?" I'm like, yeah. He said,
I'm listening.
And you know what happened? He said to me, "Just because you're with me at 1 a.m., I'm going to come to you."
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, he saw the dedication, right? He saw that you're willing to take that step further to communicate with them. But tell me, what else? What other senses are you having, Mike? What other things are you having that help you achieve this 5 figures 3 times in 1 season?
Okay, so I would answer this question by giving you kind of 2 approaches. The first approach is basically how you carry out a sell, right? Carrying out a sell depends on multiple things, right? Let's say the way you talk with the patient, the way you pitch your service, let's say. But I would say achieving multiple, as you said, multiple figures multiple times, it more so depends on your strategy. When I say strategy, unfortunately, a lot of clinics, they have those boom and bust cycles, right? They tend to pressure people in, they bring all of the patients in 1 month, and then they're left with low amount of patients.
Yeah, exactly.
So you have to kind of plan for the future and see or stand 2 months in front of where you are currently.
Nice. So you're more of throwing long-term sales
Yes.
rather than just focusing on the current month. I think this makes a lot of sense. This is why you made it not once, but actually 3 times.
Yes.
And knowing and have met a lot of sales agents in your career, what do you think is the psychological barrier that stops other agents from achieving 5 figures number? And for all of you who are watching, 5 figures means over 100,000. So just let's get that straight. So what is stopping other agents psychologically from achieving these numbers?
Well, great question. I can give you a little bit of a relative answer in a sense that when I was up and coming into this industry, when I was in the start, 40,000 or 50,000 was a very big number.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And then when I reached that stage, I understood that it's not so that if I can perform or not, but it's like a mental barrier. You have to manifest yourself, imagining doing specific work, specific numbers. So when you have that innate motivation of seeing yourself crossing those numbers one day, then you attract good things to you.
Wow. Manifestation, Mike. Wow. What a great answer. Manifestation is definitely something very powerful. And if you just like, when Conor McGregor said, if you dare to think it, if you dare to see it, and if you dare to see it while you close your eyes, you will definitely do it.
I agree.
So definitely manifestation is one of the most important things. And, both of us know from this industry that there are some months that come to us and you feel like you're on Mount Everest without oxygen. Those months that are so drained, like you feel that you don't have any more sales. And in some case, other agents would feel that they are lacking skills because of the low sales. How do you manage to overcome these months? How do you manage to go out of these periods while you're still safe, you're still intact, and your motivation is high?
Great question again. I would say that I approach the colder months in a different way. I would say that when you're in the season, you don't have a lot of time to self-evaluate, right? And in the colder seasons, when we get less patients, I'm not so worried about the revenue, the amount of money that I will make, but rather I tend to see where is the gaps that I can, let's say, change or improve, right? So I think that is my source of motivation, to try to improve myself as much as I can and always look past today. Because in 2 months' time, you would be looking at that day, thinking about that day itself. So it is always good to self-assess, try to improve yourself. And when you do that, you find yourself in a much better position than where you were a few months ago.
Yes, true. 100%, Mike. But I've noticed something about you, Mike. Working together, I've seen that on many occasions, you have a very hypnotizing tone of voice. Like when you talk to patients, especially in consultation calls, when you explain to them, it's very different from other agents. Like the way that when I hear you talking, I want to leave what I'm doing and just listen to what you are saying. And in a previous video, I told all of our audience that the best 2 traits a top agents can have is tonality and the ability to confront. Nevertheless, you have the tonality, 1,000%. But I want you to tell our audience, what is it that you do? What is it that maybe something you remember or something you do that takes you to that zone where you have that tone of voice?
Okay. So basically, when I start the call, I'm talking to the patient. The first 30 seconds or 10 seconds kind of determine the next 20 minutes in the way as such, because in that first 10 or 20 seconds, I'm trying to adapt to the way the patient talks.
Okay, so you're trying to match their pace.
Understand.
Exactly.
Okay.
Match their pace. And so that is something that plays a really important role. Because, for example, if a patient is very down low and talking slowly, I cannot be of fast pace.
Yes,
And
exactly.
the vice versa. And when you talk about tonality, I believe I try to basically provide emphasis on specific words or sentences when I'm talking.
Such as, like, can you give an example for this?
Sure. For example, when I'm doing the consultation and I want to explain why DHI and why not the FUE, right? I will more so talk very, let's say, mildly about the FUE. But when it comes to the why, that why a DHI transplant is better than the other, I will drop the voice lower, try to provide more emphasis. So kind of psychologically, that part will remain more in the patient's mind.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. It makes a lot of sense to go down in some places and have more emphasis. Makes a lot of sense.
Mixing this question with the HR question normally I'm asking in the interviews. I noticed some sales candidates, they prefer to work in a market like we have Europe, USA, Australia, Canada, UK also. So while you are speaking with this kind of patient from these different markets, what the favorite you have and what the different approach between all these markets or this kind of patients?
Well, that's a great question. I've never been asked that before. The answer to that question is if I do a self-assessment of my patients are mostly from the US. Okay. Now, that could be many factors depending on finances on their end. But on my end, I just feel that I'm able to build a much better connection, right? Theory would say that a good salesman can build a connection with everyone, right? But US sort of patients, they're very good in negotiating, very good at coming to a, let's say, conclusion or concise point. And I believe that, sure, I have a lot of patients from European side, but I believe that when I find someone who's really at, let's say, my sort of approach to communication, negotiation, I really hit it off with that patient.
Yeah, a challenger, right? Like when you find someone, a worthy foe, you feel more motivated to engage with them.
You may know as well that most of my patients are red patients.
Oh,
Yes.
the hard
Yeah. And for our audience that are watching, in case you don't know what is or who are red patients are people that are mostly dominant, people who are very impatient, and people who love to have a good challenge. So red patients are your thing. I can testify with this 100%. And yeah, I've seen this in the market actually, where people or sales agents are more into the UK patients, because UK patients are very much oriented to come to Turkey and have the treatment compared to United States, where they have
blue.
exactly they are more blue. And for our audience who are not familiar with blues are more analytic patients, those who are into details and information. So 100% the UK patients are very much well oriented. Why in the United States you have Turkey's biggest competitor to medical tourism, which is Mexico, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Mexico is right next to the United States. So winning a patient from the United States is definitely more challenging than winning a patient from the UK.
Agree.
If I'm going to ask a question, I saw a lot of sales, they're selling a patient with the same language, and they also sell patient from the language they don't speak. So how we used to approach like a Spanish speaker, Romanian speaker?
Okay. So I've had a few patients that I've brought to the clinic I'm working currently without even speaking English to them. But that is all purely done through chat, right? Again, I would say that I use my call approach, but rather dial it down and make it to a chat approach over WhatsApp. So I would be doing the same things, but I kind of dial it down, bring it down a little bit of a notch, so we can kind of break the ice, break the connection level.
Right.
So he can understand me better. I can also explain myself better. So it's more so changing the approach when it comes to patients who don't speak the same language that I.
Okay. And I also ask this a lot in the interviews. What kind of tools you need as a salesperson to have more good approach in the place that you work, more confidence, more like you can get a war with the patients and with many tools that you can depend on.
Are
And
you asking?
like the objections, how to handle the objection from these tools?
So you're asking about tools of the clinic itself,
In general, as a seller,
right?
Yeah. More clinic oriented. Like when you're working in a clinic, what kind of tools do you need the most in order to overcome objections and secure more deals?
Amazing. So it totally depends on the place you're working at. For example, as you know, the market that we have is very big, and the market is segmented into lower price, higher price, middle price.
I would like to emphasize on lower price. Yes.
Okay. So the lower price kind of market more so focuses on providing the lowest, providing, let's say, the sort of like a cheap bargain, unfortunately. But when you kind of separate this and you really start going on to, let's say, a little bit of a bigger clinic, a good salesperson's approach should be separating the price from everything.
Perfect.
Okay, and how do you do that, Mike? Like one of the biggest questions or objections we get in medical tourism, your price is too high.
And
Like,
that's all the answers I'm getting from the candidates. Price and data.
Yeah, price. It's all about the price, right? And candidates are preferred to work more in clinics with lower prices. But I know that you're working in a place that is ultra luxurious and sells with prices higher than the market. So tell me what do you do when you counter such objections?
Sure. Just one thing I'd like to mention. When you work in a lower price clinic, you don't have a lot of things you can use.
Yeah.
But when you're in a high price clinic, you can talk about them
The
being
value.
luxurious, the values, the place itself. And you can actually say that, yes, our prices are above the industry average. And why do you think that would be so? And the patient itself would be
Thinking.
really like, why is the prices
So
high?
acknowledging that our prices
Yes.
are higher than the market actually works in your favor, not against you.
Exactly. For example, if I give you a small example, I had a patient, red patient. He didn't want to come on call with me. He kept on asking me the price. Question mark, price, question mark. I avoided that question. And then I said, I will not be able to give you the price without coming on call. And then I told him that we are a luxurious boutique clinic. I basically didn't make that up, but that is what we are. So in terms of that, you can use quality, you can use values, and more importantly, you have to kind of personalize the explanation to that patient. Everyone knows you're getting a hairline. But if you just add in one thing, that for your age, you shouldn't get a very straight hairline, you should get a U-shaped hairline. And that would change everything in the patient's mind.
Small technical details that personalize
Affect
the
a lot.
experience
Yes.
could actually secure the patient even though your price is higher.
It
in
would
the
at least
market.
it would at least make him think about us, that this is what they did differently than other.
Interesting.
Service
Yeah,
providers.
because it's just a cassette rolling over and over in all other clinics. We have the best doctors, we have the best quality, we are the best. So actually finding these unique points and personalizing the experience is something very, very valuable. And another question, Mike, that definitely pops up in my mind, in your mind, and in everyone's who's watching us, follow up. Achieving 5 figures numbers multiple times means you have a very unique follow-up situation here happening, you know? Can you enlighten us on what do you do differently in your follow-up?
Okay. I would still like to say that every person can be improved. There is always room for improvement. Even though I'm good in my follow-up, I still need improvement in a sense that if I can improve myself, I can go to a higher number.
Of course.
But regarding follow-ups specifically, when you talk with the patient in this way, you build up the quality and the value, then you don't chase the patient. There have been times that I've set the price, explained everything, and I didn't even follow up after the consultation for a week and 10 days.
Okay.
So I think that is a good thing that would make you sound a little bit unique, and subconsciously, it would also make you stand out from the different crowd.
Yeah, because everyone is hitting that patient 100 times a day, you know, follow up. So you, by positioning yourself strategically higher when you have I would say a wider cadence of follow-up. So in the first 1 week to 10 days post consultation, you're not following up to position yourself differently. That's actually very smart. Yeah, that definitely this will bring back patients, because they will say, everyone's following up with me. What about that guy? Why didn't he write back?
The amount of times I've had patients coming back to me. For example, we had the consultation on Monday. I scheduled the next call on the following Monday. But the amount of times patients have sent me a message on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, asking questions, wanting to know more about it. that again plays to, as you're saying, it makes the patient chase me, not me chase the patient.
Right.
Wow. Okay, I didn't expect this answer. This is really, really good. Guys, you might want to write this down. And Mike, one last question that could benefit everyone. Like, I know that your experience is not 10 years in this field. It's only 3 years, but still, it's not about the time we spent. It's about the experiences we have. And apparently your experiences that you had are very, very much wider than the most. What is an advice that you would give to other sales agents, despite their level, junior, senior, or even masters? What is a piece of advice that you can give to these agents to hit 5 figures numbers consistently and have more sales?
Okay. So I would recommend or say that you have to, first of all, evaluate your own approach. Means of selling, right? Apart from selling, follow-up. Apart from follow-up, what do you do that hooks the patient in? First of all, you evaluate this. Then you kind of change yourself from trying to sell as much as you can in the same month to thinking 2 months in the future, 3 months in the future, right? And after that, you kind of tweak your selling approach so that you don't rush the patient.
Yeah. Thank you so much. That's probably the biggest problem that is happening right now in medical tourism when it comes to sales, right? The leader comes or the manager comes, says, this is your target. The agents will freak out. They want to achieve the target no matter what. They will push patients nonstop because they want to achieve their target. And what happens when patients are over pushed, they tend to run away.
Yes.
They
And
tend
he will
to
lose his
ghost.
motivation. As starting.
Exactly. If something chases you too much, you will not chase it back, right?
Sure.
So
They can feel it. the
exactly.
patients.
So thinking up ahead, thinking for 2 months, 3 months, or even more ahead, I think will create consistency in the
Correct.
performance of these sales agents.
Completely agree.
Mike, I couldn't thank you enough for being a guest on our podcast. Thank you so much for coming and for the very valuable information you provided. I think this will be valuable for everyone who's watching. People can take notes of this and people can try this. And we would love to hear feedback from our audience regarding these tips and tricks. Furthermore, Mike, we would love to see you in our upcoming episodes as well. I know there's a lot to talk about and your experience is so wide, but until now, I thank you so much for attending today's
Thank you, Mike. Thank you for your time also.
episode, and we hope to see you again in our future ones.
It's my pleasure. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank
You're
you too.
welcome.